Welcome back to the Ball Does Live podcast, your one-stop shop for NBA content. My name is Amir, joined by my co-host Brendan. The NBA trade deadline ended today, and it didn't go out with a bang because Giannis basically played the entire NBA, and the Bucks did not trade Giannis, which is not that shocking because the Bucks theoretically don't have to trade Giannis yet, and they could probably get more offers in the summertime. But the interesting part, Brendan, we'll start here before we get into other trades that happened today and just overall the landscape of the deadline. But the interesting thing I saw was that after the Bucks early on in the day said they're not going to trade Giannis, Giannis tweeted basically saying that like legends stay basically and they build, right? Legends stay, and he did the Wolf of Wall Street I'm not leaving meme or gif or whatever, which is so crazy to think because there were reports and indication that even though Giannis doesn't want to look like the bad guy and never blatantly said I request a trade or want to be traded, they did say that he was open to finding a new home and that the Bucks were open to listening, right? So they were saying he is willing and ready to leave. He's finally had enough. And for him to say that, like, what are your thoughts on that and the whole Giannis just not getting traded? But like the thoughts on him saying that after we had the expectation that he was ready to do it, even though he was not going to blatantly say it outright that I demand a trade. So what are your thoughts on the whole Giannis situation?
Yeah, I think Giannis comes out of this looking just annoying. I don't know. That's the only word I can describe it, is annoying as an NBA fan. He 1 second through his agent is vehemently requesting to be traded. He wants to go compete for a title, but then he himself is saying, "Oh, I never actually requested the trade. That's my agent. I can't control what he's saying." Then he
Mm-hmm.
finally comes out later and says, "You know what? The time has come. I've won a title with you guys. We've ran the course here, but I need a new start here somewhere else. I need to chase something." And then he just kept flipping back and forth to the point where now he sends out this ridiculous Instagram post talking about legends don't chase, they attract, when he himself, this entire process, has been looking for the best option that he can get to. So I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we can now focus on the rest of the season now, and kind of this playoff push as we approach the All-Star break. But I'm bummed out we're not going to get Giannis now in the postseason. That's one part of this trade that I am a little upset about. We really haven't seen Giannis in the playoffs since 2022, really during his big championship run. And as an NBA fan, that kind of sucks, because I like seeing Giannis playing important, impactful basketball. And all indications are showing the Bucks are going to shut Giannis down for the rest of the year, as they should. There's no reason to play him and risk any injury, even if he is ready to come back.
Let's talk
And
about
we'll
that
just
too real quick.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Finish your
Let's dive into it. Well, then we'll just see what happens come summertime. People seem to be thinking that the Bucks are going to deal him in the summer. By the energy I'm feeling from Giannis based on that Instagram post, he's hunkering down. He's going to stay with the Bucks long term. He might sign a new deal. That's kind of at least my just initial reflexive reaction to what we're seeing so far. If he gets dealt, he gets dealt. But I kind of think he's just going to stay on the Bucks now long term. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but we can go back to the point you were about to make here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand the loyalty perspective and him wanting to be like Kobe or Dirk, like winning the championship, being on the same organization. I mean, Kobe didn't get drafted by the Lakers technically, but still, like he is loyal, and that makes sense. Like I'm not mad about that. I'm mad about him going back and forth, basically saying like not directly saying it, but again, like playing this game of like willing to be open to get traded, and then he doesn't get traded. And now he's like pro Milwaukee Bucks. Like it seems like he is going to let them have an opportunity to try to build a contender, which I don't see any way. They have no draft capital, really. I mean, they get a draft pick this year again. We talked about this between the Pelicans pick and their pick. They'll probably get the worst pick because I don't think they'll be as bad as the Pelicans theoretically. Maybe, who knows? But they have the Dame Lillard contract, which we also talked about, 23 million. They have Miles Turner that got a pretty lucrative deal himself, right? That's going to be making what in the 20s, 30s himself. So like 50 something million is gone between Turner and Lillard. So I don't know what they can do, but everything indicates though what based off that tweet or Instagram post is like he's gonna stay, and like if he stays, why not sign that extension because he's eligible for that supermax, um, next season. So why not? But here's the BS thing though, because there was a report that came out saying that Giannis still wants to play, and they were talking about how it's conflicting that one, the team didn't trade him, so they need him to sit out so they can tank and lose and get a lottery pick. So that could be a reason why Giannis stays. Potentially, he's getting a good pick in a loaded draft. But then on the flip side, Giannis, I think through ESPN or Bleacher or something, said that he's willing to play and try to make a run. So that's contradictory there. But also, how rigged and bullshit does the NBA have to continue to be that like they basically can say they want to shut him down? Like, yes, he's luckily injured now, and we don't know the full severity of the calf issue, but it's not severe enough where he should miss the next 50 games, right? Like 3-4 months. So how bush league is that they could possibly openly tank and sit him? Like that's just so ridiculous in my opinion. What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
No, I agree. I think the league is going to be put in an interesting position to monitor that situation. Um, and the Bucks, I guess, could just hide behind whatever existing injury he currently has and continue to claim that. But the NBA has made a pretty concerted effort to stop a lot of this kind of load management. And it's going to be interesting now for these teams that really don't have much to play for. Their incentive is to just continue losing, miss the plan altogether, and just
Mm-hmm.
try to get a better draft position. Now it's interesting for the Bucks because I do believe Atlanta gets the better pick between the two of them. Both are kind of jockeying for a really great position in the lottery right now, to be honest. Um, but it's interesting because if you compare that situation with what is going to be going on with the Wizards and Anthony Davis, honestly, much easier to just say, hey, he's got this nagging injury. Up, he slipped in his shower last night. He's going to miss 10 games, hurt his hand. He's just a guy made of glass, where Giannis is just an ultimate competitor, a guy that's usually pretty durable, other than these couple calf injuries he's been faced with, but a guy that typically plays, and if he's available to play, wants to play. So the Bucks navigating, trying to tell him, "Hey, we're shutting you down for the rest of the season," which is the obvious decision for Milwaukee to do. And then
Mm-hmm.
what Giannis and the league are going to come back with. That's what I'm going to be really interested to see. What penalties is the league going to come up with for the Bucks? They're going to have to come up with something, especially given the comments you just said Giannis came out with. He wants to make a run and he wants to play. Well, if he's available, then what excuse are the Bucks going to come up with to keep him out of the lineup? I'm not sure. They could just continue to lean on the calf injury, but
Yeah.
based on Giannis's comments, every NBA fan I think can basically come to the conclusion that that's a bunch of bullshit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what the league's going to do to handle it, but they got to have at least some sort of plan to mitigate some of this shutting down and load management that we'll see a bunch of teams I think do post All-Star break.
They could probably just shut him down for like the 6 to 8 weeks and say it's a severe calf strain. So that way, like, how many games are left? 40.
Let me take a look at our schedule here. Yeah, we're a little over the halfway point here. So yeah, I'd say somewhere in the 35 to 40 range.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you can miss like 15 games and they go like 2-12, 13, and then they were 500 with Giannis anyway. You know what I mean? Like, the team is just that bad. So maybe they could play that and just like hold them out longer by a few weeks. If it gets to the point where it's actually going to be shady, they could say, "Hey, he re-aggravated the calf while training and practicing, trying to
Right.
get back into it." So that could be something they do, which would be, I think, very
Yeah, I
shady.
mean
But I
there
mean,
there are a million ways the Bucks can hide this and just keep them shut down for the year.
dude, the
Um,
Trey Young shit is bullshit too, but no one cares because it's the
it's
Wizards. But
it's
like,
the Wizards now. Yeah.
they're gonna possibly shut down Trey and AD to like. Is Trey really hurt? I think he's been out for a long time. Has he even made his debut with the Wizards yet? He hasn't, right? I don't think he
No,
has.
not he hasn't played with the Wiz yet. No.
Right? So like he's already been out again for an extended period of time. Like I think he's healthy enough to play. I think they're just holding him out to continue to lose. Like
Yeah.
they're in a good situation themselves technically for like 40 games next year. Um, I say 40 games because Anthony Davis is going to miss 40 games and Trey's probably going to miss 20. But like having the Trey, the what's his name again? Trey what? Not Jones. What is it? Johnson? Is it Trey John the rookie on the Wizards?
Yeah. Let me. I'm looking up their
Trey. It's
roster here too,
I'm
but
so bad. I know it's a Trey with it's Johnson, Trey Jones, something, whatever. He's a sharpshooter. Like so, you have him obviously right for the future. They get a lottery pick, possibly again a top five pick, and then you have AD. I mean, who's going to be great for 40 games, right? And then you have Trey, who's going to be a solid offensive system for them. Like they have and they have Alex Sar. Like they have some interesting pieces, honestly.
no, the Wizards actually are kind of positioned well. Like you just said, you just listed out all their great players there. Trey Johnson is the name we were both searching
Johnson.
for. Even a guy like Bilal Koulibaly, who he's a little
Oh,
hot and
he's
cold,
great.
but I think Koulibaly could be a great player. Has a lot of just insane athleticism, great defender. And I think the Wizards actually could build something interesting, which is crazy because I feel ever since the Bradley Beal no trade clause prison that they've been in,
Right.
they've just been in purgatory. And now finally, I think people in DC can have something to look forward to with the Wiz. Because I gotta say, even a healthy Trey Young with 40 games of AD, that's interesting in the East. I think that could be interesting. Not necessarily world beaters, but you at least can have some competitive basketball in the DMV area finally.
If AD stays healthy, like a couple years ago for the Lakers, he had that bullshit like 77 game season. Like if he could play like 65 games and Trey, like he's kind of had the injury bug a little bit, over the last couple years. Nothing major, but if you can get him and Trey to play 65 games alone, I'm not saying they're going to be a 40 game winning team, but like maybe in the East, who knows? Like honestly, like that duo healthy on the court, Anthony Davis healthy is still putting up like 22 and 11, and he's going to get you some assists. He's a good playmaking big. Obviously, when he's healthy, he's one of the best defenders in the entire NBA, right? Like one of the only few guys that can guard 1 through 5, like actually. So he is getting a little bit older, and all the injuries are piling up. But those two guys playing 60 plus games together with Alex Sar, who's improving, and whatever draft pick they can get, if they can get like a potential Stephon Castle type player, like in the
Oh
draft, or
my
they might
God.
they might they can get like a number one pick too. I'm saying they can get like a, what I mean, if they get like a Cooper Flag Wemby like generational type of first pick, or like I don't know if Stephon Castle's generational, but like he's
But a
elite.
great player. He's a great like all-star level player.
Oh, he's an
I
elite.
could
He's an
see
all star. He's
Cass.
gonna be an
Yeah.
all star, perennial all star.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if he's a superstar, but anyway,
Yeah.
the other trades that happened today, not many happened. So the big news was early on, 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern was when it came out saying that the Bucks are not going to trade Giannis. Nothing really happened after that, but one big trade, in my opinion, was the Pacers. All these teams in the East are like they
Absolutely.
were doing some incremental moves, small moves to improve, and I think the Pacers did a great job improving in a year where this is a down year because of Halliburton being injured, and they're going to get a lottery pick themselves, and they got Zubac from the Clippers in an interesting trade. So, what are your thoughts on that? That's a fun front court. You got Zubac and Siakam, and then when Hallie comes back, like Zubac is also going to have one of the better point guards, playmakers in the NBA. So, like you go from Harden, who obviously helped advance and accelerate his career. Like you don't lose a lot by going from Harden to Halliburton, right? Like you went from a great
No.
situation to another great situation. So, what are your thoughts on that pickup and his impact in the East? Especially when Halliburton comes back next season.
Yeah, I think a lot of the best teams in the East are pretty upset with how I think great the Pacers can look now, grabbing a guy like Zubats, and they're positioned to get a lottery pick right now as well. So next year, I think the Pacers could be a legitimate favorite in the East. I don't see why they wouldn't be once they get Hallie back. They were one game away from beating the Thunder and winning a championship, and then they just completely bolstered their roster even further. And the thing is, even though they are technically tanking, they're one of the worst teams right now in the league. They play really competitive basketball, and their guys really care game to game. Like they are competing every night, which I think is instilling some good habits. As weird as that might be to say, and as maybe non-consequential as that seems, given their actual current overall record, it still builds good winning habits. So in a year where I think their best case scenario was lose as much as you can, but don't instill a losing culture, get yourself a good draft pick. I think the Pacers have played this year about as perfect as you could play it. So I anticipate next year with that front court that you just talked about with Zubac and Siakam, and then you just have that insanely deep backcourt as well with Demhart, Halliburton. They're going to be just a complete bitch to deal with come next year. And I kind of just as a too early type of prediction would think they're gonna be a top 3 seed in the East and a legitimate contender for the title next season.
Makes sense, man. I thought it was a great move. And you know, it's funny. The Clippers were talking about how they were horrible to start the season, which was pretty surprising to most people watching the NBA. Then they went on a crazy run, which we talked about. They went 18. They won 18 out of their last 22 or something along those lines. And then, of course, Harden comes in and requests a trade. So not only did they trade Harden, Garland's fine when healthy. He's 26. He's a two-time All-Star. He's fine. But losing Zubac now is crazy because you're losing your best point guard in Harden, someone who's averaging 25 points a game, like 10 assists almost, and Zubac, who's averaging a double-double, 15 and 11, who's a very underrated defender, I think, in my opinion, for a big. And they owe the OKC Thunder their pick, and now they're going to be potentially bad again. Like I thought, like they were out of that hole where the Thunder are going to get a lottery pick, but now, like, do you think that the Clippers are at risk to fall again, or do you think they have enough with Matherin, and Garland now coming in with Kawhi Leonard, who's been healthy-ish and has been playing spectacular, but like, do you trust Kawhi's knees? Like, if Kawhi's
No,
knees
no,
go out
you
again,
can't. You can't trust Kawhi's knees as healthy as he's been this season, which has been awesome. I'm a proud fantasy owner of Kawhi Leonard this year. Paid a whole $15 for him in our auction draft, so he's been incredible. I think has surpassed all expectation with the amount of games he's played and how healthy it is. And if you do have a healthy Kawhi Leonard, you're going to be a good team, at least good, in my opinion. I think this will all kind of hinge on Darius Garland. How healthy can he be, and how quickly can he get back to the type of basketball he was playing last season? Because I think the Harden trade was a pretty big indictment on what the Cavs thought of Darius Garland and how much faith they had that he could get back to that type of basketball. They're taking, I would assume, a 1-year flyer on Harden. I don't know if they're going to extend him. The Clippers clearly weren't planning to extend him, so the Cavs were willing to basically flip kind of the same level of production, same type of contract money for a guard that's how much older is Harden than Darius Garland? 8 years older.
35. Garland's 26. Like nine.
It's 9 to 10 years. Like you're just basically getting a guard that's 10 years older. Which I think says it's kind of spoke volumes about what the Cavs thought about their current backcourt and how much faith they had that Darius could remain healthy and just get back to playing the type of basketball he was playing just a season ago. So I think the Clippers, yeah, they were at least in a position to make a bit of a run this year with James. They were finally winning games, but now it seems like they're in blow it up mode. And again, they don't have their first round pick, like you just said, that goes right to the Thunder. So they're in a very, very interesting position. I do think with Kawhi, they'll at least still be able to make somewhat of a run at the play-in here. Hopefully avoid the lottery, just so the rest of the league won't have to watch OKC get another lottery pick. I think that's all we can hope and pray for now as fans of the NBA, that the Clippers can at least pull out a miracle kind of run post All-Star break and continue at least the trajectory they're currently on. Big ass, though, when you lose a guy like Harden, who's that productive in the regular season, again, sticking to the regular season, who's that productive and who is that much of a workhorse, plays every single game in the regular season, doesn't miss games. So it's been an interesting trade season right now for the Clippers. So looking through the rest of these trades, though, Amir, I want to ask you some questions. Well, why don't we start with your Miami Heat? I just want to get your take on it. We were talking just the other day about they could potentially be landing both Ja and Giannis. And the asking price, I saw at least reported that the Heat were positioning to the Grizzlies for Ja, was just about what you were talking about. And no trigger seemed to be pulled, sending over someone like Khalil Ware or Jaime Jaquez and a first round pick. And I guess that just wasn't palatable enough for the Grizzlies to make that move. So, what are your thoughts on your Heat? I guess not necessarily swinging and missing, but not able to make a move here before the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Grizzlies wanted a first round pick, you could see that that's not Jaw's value, especially because how horrible of a season he's having, how he hasn't played good literally in like the last 2.5 seasons, it feels like. And his contract, he's gonna be making like 48 million or so for the next 2 seasons, right? So he doesn't he's not a superstar anymore, so it doesn't move the needle. If he was on that same trajectory, of course it would be a different story. Um, but yeah, I don't think anybody was willing to give a first round pick to the Memphis Grizzlies, and it's not like they need any more picks. Honestly, they
Yeah,
got a
Grizzlies got
ton.
plenty.
Yeah, at least seven, right? At least from the Triple J and Bane trade. But anyway, disappointing for the Miami Heat. Like I'm not blaming the Miami Heat for missing out on Giannis because it seems like the Bucks were just testing the waters to see what his value was. Um, so I don't blame the Miami Heat for that. I blame them for not having a direction and for not making a single move to either get some cap space to get more draft capital, or to offload a long-term contract we may have had, perhaps for another piece or getting a young player, into the system. So they didn't make any move, and they're content. They basically said they think this team can compete when healthy. I'm like, this team when healthy, first they're never healthy, and we just lost to the Bulls. We just lost to the Hawks. We've lost to your Kings. We've lost to the Mavs. Like we've had some great wins, sure, but we're basically a 500 team. They're only 2 games above 500, and so they always have the mantra like we want to go after the whale superstar, but our asset management hasn't been great the last few years, and we're always a team that a player wants to go to. It's always a top destination. We're always linked to certain players, but we've not been able to get a player of Giannis's caliber in a very long time. Dame, KD, we missed out on twice. Donovan Mitchell, we've missed out on. Like, there's just so many players that we've missed out on in the past. And what pisses Heat fans off is okay, like we didn't get Giannis, that's fair, but why not make a move to get more assets for the summer? Like move Wiggins. Is someone desperate out there for Wiggins? He's having a great season, but it doesn't mean much for a team when you're 500. We don't have a superstar. We don't have a 1A. We don't have an alpha to carry us. So fans are upset that we didn't try to move Wiggins. And like some fans were even saying, fine, maybe some teams didn't think he's worth the number one pick. Get 4 second round picks for him and get like two solid players, get two young players that have potential. We didn't do that. Trade Norm Powell, which would be a little more difficult pill to swallow because he's just became a first time All Star, but still, he's on an expiring contract. He's 32 years old. Are we really going to extend him? Like, if we extend him, what are we going to do with Tyler Hero? And we have Bam. Then we're in the same situation right there, right? So,
Yeah.
do you want to extend a guy who's 32, a first time All Star, who's not going to be your number one? Like, he shouldn't be your number one option. So, I would have even shopped Norm to see if we could have gotten a first round pick if you're that serious about actually trying to get Giannis, or even just anybody else. Like, Tyler Hero, what is his value? Like, we're not going to extend him. He's not even playing this season. He's been unhealthy. Like, he has a 1 year left next year. He's an expiring. Like, that's what pisses Heat fans off is like we did absolutely nothing. And teams like the Hornets made some moves. Teams like the Wizards have made moves. Cavs, Pacers, like all these teams have made some
Everyone around you. Yeah,
solid
everybody
moves.
around you.
Like, and there wasn't big moves by a lot of teams, but like some teams did good to get like extra second round picks to get under the luxury tax or under the first apron or something, or like position themselves to bring someone else in, like a bigger contract the following year or the future. So Heat fans are so pissed because we're stuck in the middle. Like we're not good enough to compete. We're not bad enough to, and like we're not bad enough to be a lottery team, and we don't tank. So we're not going to sit players out. We're not going to not try. So it's just a very miserable deadline. Like a lot of Heat fans are pissed right now at Pat Riley and Mickey Harrison for not making any sort of move. And I mean, like, I would have been down for getting. I can never say his name. Io Dasanu, whatever Desayuno. I know it's Spanish for breakfast, but let's Dansumu, whatever the hell his name is. Like that guy busted our ass. We play Chicago 4 times a year. That guy always seems to bust our ass. What a great two-way type player. He went for like a couple second round picks. Like the I think the T-Wolves made a great move. Like do something even like that. Like why not even do something minimal like that to make a slight change? Because right now we're a 500 team and it's not working. So like even
Yeah.
not doing something that small pisses me off as a Heat
Yeah.
fan.
No, absolutely. I mean, you guys are 14th in net rating this season. You're great on defense, fourth in defensive rating, but that we've just come to expect that out of Miami. And then you're 17th in offensive rating with a 27-25 record. Like you said, you're about right just at the mediocre line, and you're not moving up or down from that. So why not shake things up? Why not at least give yourselves a better position come this offseason to make a different move, or at least collect some more assets that can do something. But now that Giannis is moving on to the summer, this has become, not great for the Heat because now a bunch of other players are kind of entering that conversation. We'll see what Giannis ends up doing. And then your list of 2026 free agents isn't necessarily very great. So, um, yeah, we'll see what your Heat end up doing here. There's
Dude, they're 17th now. We remember early in the year where they're top 10 in offensive rating and
That's
defensive
right.
rating. We talked about how huge that is for real contenders, and that was when the Heat were like 14-7 or something, right? They were top three. And remember the top three? How weird it was in the East. It
Yeah,
was it
I,
who was
I
it? Heat, Raptors, and Detroit, right? Were the top
Yeah,
three at
Heat,
one point.
Raptors, Pistons were at the top of the East, and that new offense the Heat were running, I think, was fresh and exciting, and it seems to have kind of run its course now, and they're just kind of back to mediocrity.
And
So
stuck in it. We're stuck in the play-in again. Like even the Bulls were trying to like do a little bit, a little something. I mean, they for some reason trade for 1,000 guards, which was insane, but still, they're trying to switch up something. The Hawks, they made a move for Kaminga. Like it's always the Heat, Hawks, and Bulls, right? That are always playing each other in the play-in, and like the consolation prize is you don't get a good lottery pick. You're outside of the lottery, and then you win one game or you win
maybe
one or
you're
two games.
competitive in a round of the playoffs, and that's about it. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Like even like I don't love Kaminga, and I mean like even the Heat could have taken a flyer on someone like Jonathan Kaminga. Like all it took was Porzingis' $30 million expiring contract. That guy's freaking made out of glass too. That guy can never play and stay on the court. He's never healthy. So, but like even the Hawks are doing, they're trying to make some sort of moves, right? They're moving away from obviously Trey was the big move, but
yeah. Not
it's
entirely sure
crazy.
what the Hawks are doing, to be honest, but they are at least changing things up. So you can tip your cap to that. They're at least trying some new things.
They're giving their
Um,
keys to a new star. They got lucky as hell drafting this dude in the 20s, and Johnson's a star now. And they're just like, okay, we're not going to be great. We'll still be in this 8 to 12 range, probably, right? Until we actually draft a few more good guys, perhaps. I mean, I don't know. Jalen Johnson's pretty damn good, but
I
I
mean,
don't know.
him
I
and
think there's
Nah are both incredible. Like they hit about as hard as you could hit on Nikhil Alexander Walker, which is why their season I think is so disappointing right now, given where they're at. But yeah, they got lucky hit on Jalen Johnson. Um, but again, that like this collection of players that they have now, which kind of leads us right into the Warriors trade um, between Atlanta and Golden State. Kaminga just he doesn't really fit. But again, I guess we haven't really seen Kaminga play the type of basketball that suits his skill set. But just we can expand a little bit more on that part of it. What'd you think of the Warriors shedding Kaminga finally? It just seemed like they had to get him off the roster before the deadline. That's why this trade came in, and that's why they're just taking Kristaps.
they're just
Um,
getting expiring. They get because now Kaminga had a team option next season. So I mean, you're they probably wouldn't have picked him up anyway. But at least this way you get. I mean, I don't know. I'm just like trying to rationalize in my head as I'm speaking. Like, are they going to keep Kristaps after next year? Probably not, right? Like, so I don't think it really makes much
unless
of
he
it.
just somehow plays more than half of the remaining games, maybe. But even then,
It doesn't
it's
even matter. I think they just wanted to get it. They're just like, get
no.
Kaminga
The
out of
point was
here.
get Kaminga off the roster.
The
That was
vibes. It was the
exactly that
vibes
was the point.
because he has a player or a team option. They could just say, no, we're not picking him up. Then he's off the books, right? So Kaminga was what, making like 20 million or something next season? Nothing crazy, right? Is he like in the
Yeah, it was
20s?
a 2 year $48 million deal. So yeah, just around 24 million a year,
Yeah, so
somewhere
they're
around there.
basically it's like, okay, like we don't pick him up, he's gone. He's off the books. He's an expiring basically. And same with Porzingis, like they guess they took on more money cuz he's making 31 million, I think, but I don't think it matters for the Warriors. Yeah, just get him off the team because of the vibes. For Kaminga, I'd be happy. Like I think, I mean, it'd probably be better if Trey Young was on that team still, but like he's probably going to get an opportunity to start next to Jalen. Like I don't know how much usage he's honestly going to get because they're going to run the offense through Jalen because he's such a freaking good all around player, right? But still, I think he'll get a shot because the Hawks suck. So like, what do they have to lose? See if he's worth an extension. It's they're probably going to pick up the option, I would assume, right, and pay him, and then he's an expiring contract, so it's a contract year for Kuminga. Play your ass off, see if you fit into our system. Do we want to give you a 4-year deal? If not, if he sucks, they can let him walk too. Then after that season as well, right? So then, which could be a good thing or bad thing for the Hawks. So I think it's a good opportunity for Kuminga. I mean, better than the opportunity he had with the Golden State Warriors. So, what do you think
Yeah,
about the play fit style, playing with Jalen and Ricochet and Dyson and all those guys and Nikhil? Like, do you think he'll have a
yeah.
chance?
I I mean, he's gonna get a better chance than he had in Golden State. I think the shooting for the Hawks is definitely a huge problem. Um, the spacing is going to be a little wonky, and then I think I'm more interested to see how kind of the egos mesh and gel because as a guy that lives in the Bay Area, not a Warrior fan, but someone that watches a lot of the Warriors, Kaminga definitely thinks he's the man. And you're going to a new team now with kind of the thinking that okay, now that I'm away from this Warriors system, I can actually go and do my thing. Well, the Hawks are nowhere near close to being your team, Kaminga. It's gonna all run through Jalen Johnson. So seeing how those two mesh, I think, is gonna be incredibly important for Kaminga and his opportunity to get an extension. Um, and I in my head right now, I don't see how it's gonna fit well, to be quite honest. And but we don't know really what Kaminga can do. I think that's another key here. His years at Golden State, he was a puzzle piece that they were just trying to jam into a certain spot that just
Mm-hmm.
didn't fit at all. So now he maybe can be a little bit more amorphous and figure out a way to fit in a bit more. He's definitely going to be given more freedom, which is what he wants. So maybe with that freedom comes more opportunity. With more opportunity comes, an injection in your statistics. So, um, yeah, I kind of don't see the fit working out though. With all that being said,
We'll see. I mean, it doesn't matter because they still need to lose. I'm sure that losing for the Hawks is a good thing, right? So because
absolutely.
they're nowhere near a finished product. So getting more lottery picks is not a bad thing for this team. So, all right, we'll close out here real quick. Winners and losers. Who's the ultimate winner of the trade deadline, and who's the ultimate loser? Don't have to go into
Man,
depth. Just
that that's a great question. I think the ultimate winner of this trade deadline, as weird as it sounds, just I want to say Washington. I want to say the Wizards. I don't. I just think
Trey's a part of
they
that. Trey's part of the deadline, even though it's
exactly
three.
100%. You just picked up Anthony Davis, who, as we just spoke about, when healthy, big asterisks on that when healthy, but when healthy is a top 20 player in the league. And then Trey Young is anywhere in like the 40 to 35 kind of best players in the NBA as well. So you went from a team that's just been stuck losing or hoping a veteran like Russell Westbrook can come and drag you to a playing game to now being a team that actually has a little bit of direction. And I think there's stuff to be excited about in DC. And it all kind of hinges on AD's health, which isn't great, but I think it's better than the positions that they were previously in. And you get to watch actually some competitive basketball finally in Washington, where your team is going to try to win. So I'm gonna say DC, and then maybe in a close second, I would throw honestly the Charlotte Hornets in there. Sneaky getting Kobe White. I think the Hornets are positioning themselves really well. I think they're gonna make the play in. LaMelo Ball's been playing incredible. Brandon Miller is turning into a star. And I think Charlotte and obviously Con Knipple, it's between him and Flag
Amazing.
for Rookie of the Year. I think Charlotte is in a great position, and that little move to get Kobe White I thought was a great move. So those are my two winners. I'd say. Who do you have?
Who's your loser?
Oh, my loser. So I think my losers right now are the Clippers. Um, Clippers are just now back to we're all praying and hoping they don't give OKC a lottery pick. I think that is now considered to be a win on the season. And then another big loser. Um, I would probably stay Golden State still.
What? What about
I
the Heat?
well the Heat just didn't. They're just again. You guys are just in the middle. You're not a winner. You're not a loser. You're just
We didn't do
stuck.
anything. Yeah,
So
keep us in the
like you
middle,
know
goddammit.
you're
We're in the
stuck in the
play-in.
middle.
We're in the
I can't
play-in
make a
of the
comment on you.
trades.
But the Warriors, you get rid of one piece, but now you got to deal with Draymond and Pajemski. You didn't handle those issues, which are two glaring issues on your roster. And then every day that goes by is another day you're not optimizing Stephen Curry with the insane level of production he gives you. So I say the Warriors and Clippers are both in the Pacific Division, my two losers.
There we go. I'm gonna say Kings are the biggest losers for sure because all they did was add DeAndre Hunter,
I
and
mean,
they didn't trade Levine or
or
Demar or
DeMar,
anybody
nope, no, we're
or
keeping
Sabonis.
Sabonis too.
Sabonis was linked. That team needs to blow it up, obviously, and go into full rebuild mode. I would say,
God, it's been in full rebuild mode for 20 years.
kind of. I mean, well, you
We had one good
you had the
team.
beam, whatever the one De'Aaron Fox with Sabonis one
Yeah,
playoff run. Um, where I think you lost in the first. Did you guys lose to the Warriors in the first round or
we
second
lost to
round?
the Dubs. Yeah, first round.
There we go. But yeah, so they need to fully rebuild and just gut everybody and pray to get the top pick in the draft somehow and get a real superstar through the draft. That's like the only way
They'll
you can
fumble the
actually.
pick. They'll fumble the pick. We know how this goes. And if they do
Yeah,
get it right, if they do draft like a Tyrese Halliburton, we'll
they'll
trade him
trade him
away.
anyway. They'll
We'll
trade him
trade him
anyway.
away.
So
It's fucking miserable being a Kings fan. I got to tell you.
yeah, but you probably don't even watch games anymore, so it's okay. So anyway, Kings are the biggest losers in my one of the biggest losers in my opinion. And the biggest winners, Cavs. I hate Harden. I hate him so much. Obviously, I give him credit and respect for being obviously one of the greatest shooting guards of the NBA, but he's a choke artist. He's a regular season player. He's not a playoff riser. He chokes when it means the most. So, and he just flip flops and bounces around. He's chasing a ring, no loyalty, no commitment. But I think the fit on the Cavs, as long as he could play well with Donovan Mitchell, who seems bought in, who seems very happy that he's going to have a star next to him, a star guard, um, unlike Darius Garland, who I don't think was that great. I think that's a good move though in the East right now without Halliburton, without the Bucks and Giannis
Mm-hmm.
as a contender, without uh,
With no
Tatum
Tatum.
in the Celtics. Why not see if you can somehow pull it off and win? I don't know if there could be anybody in the West, but it's a solid team playing like I mean it's an upgrade I think from the Clippers. Like you're playing with Donovan Mitchell who's playing at an MVP level, who's still in his late 20s in his prime. And then you have two really good bigs that James Harden can completely unlock, unlike Darius Garland, was able to, like with Jared Allen and Mobley. And like I think those guys, you saw it with Zubac we talked about earlier. Like Harden made Zubac look a lot better than I think he actually is. And I think he's going to do the same thing with Mobley, who's a better player than Zubac. Jared Allen is like in that Zubac range, right? So I think he's going to take a leap. Like they're going to get so
Yeah.
many easy opportunities, and I think they're a solid team. I think they can, and they also added your boy Keon. I forgot
Yep.
they
I
added a
was going to
three and
mention the
D,
Keon.
and they have Schroeder now, some more offensive scoring off the bench. Like they've been playing a lot better. So I think maybe I'll give it to Cleveland, because that's probably the splashiest move that was made
Definitely
in
the
the
biggest
East.
blockbuster. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll say that yeah, the Kings are the losers and the Cavs might be the winners. But anyway, thank you so much for hopping on, Brendan. Appreciate the
Thanks for
time.
having me, Amir.
Yep. So we will be back with more episodes next week. But yeah, the trade deadline was kind of fun. Not for Brendan as a Kings fan and myself as a Heat fan, but you know the trade deadline is always interesting. It's always fun. Um, but yeah, not as exciting as past years, but still some interesting moves took place. So if you guys do enjoy this content, though, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more NBA content. Thanks.